everybody, welcome back. We are at the end of 2020 right now. It's the second week of December, and I would imagine if you're like the rest of the world, you're thinking, man, I have had a heck of a year. And you have, along with the rest of us. It's been something we've never lived through before. And, I'm thinking about this morning when I was at home doing my daily devotionals. I'm thinking, who had a rough year was Mary and Joseph. As we get into the Christmas season, I'm thinking about them, as I'm sure you are. And just, can you imagine their life when Gabriel came and told Mary that she was going to be pregnant with Jesus? No, Joseph was okay to go ahead and marry her. How their life must have looked. We like to look at it as like the stories we see on TV and everything's hunky-dory and cool, but it was a rough year for them. I would imagine Joseph's friends and his family thought he was a fool. Either they thought that he had gotten this girl pregnant before they were married, or somebody else had, and he was stupid enough to go ahead and marry her. And they were looking at Mary young, pregnant, unmarried, walking around her village, people talking about her, people gossiping her, starting rumors, going to her parents and telling them, hey, mom and dad, I'm pregnant, but I've never been with the guy before. Can you imagine what their life was like? Yet they remained faithful and did what God called them to do. They trusted what the angel told them. And then going to Bethlehem and having Jesus and the way that he was born into this world, all of it seemed like they had no idea what was going to happen next. And I think that some of you are feeling that way. We lived through this year and we have no idea what's going to happen next. We don't know what God's going to do with this thing that we've lived through. I think about the disciples too. When they were living their life and writing what they wrote, they had no idea, I don't think, that thousands of years later, that people would be reading about their lives. They had no idea that the things they were doing, the obedience they were rendering to Christ, and just doing what it is that they did in daily life was going to have an impact and literally change billions of lives. We just don't know. And right now, as you're living through this time and we're looking at 2021 coming up and hoping for a better year, I want to encourage you to live your life and just render obedience to Christ and just live as scriptures tell you to live. We have no idea years from now, when someone's reading about this epidemic that went through the world, how the Christian church lived, how the Christian church thrived, how it continued to do what the gospel of Christ calls us to do, which is not to be worried about politics and so forth, but to share the gospel message of Jesus Christ with a lost and dying world. I pray that years from now, when we're all gone and we're in heaven, if the world's still here, that people will be reading about the Christian church and just be amazed at the testimony and the witness they kept during this time. I want to encourage you that way. I said this before here a couple of weeks ago. All is not lost, and God does have the whole world in his hands. And that means you, that means your family, and that means your future. So I encourage you to trust him. It has been a rough year, but there's a good days that coming. And I pray that you know that in Jesus' name. Hey, we'd love to see you here on Sundays at 10:30, online or in person. Either way, we're going to be getting it on with the Lord, and I encourage you to come and join us. Hey, see you next time.